Good morning, friends, and welcome to another Wellness Wednesday. So as of a couple days ago, I finished my 1-month challenge that I put out for myself of alternating lean and fat days. I also, like I said last week, I passed a month of being completely dairy-free. So now I've been dairy-free for about a month plus a week. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about how all of it went all together and the results that I saw and things that I expected or hoped for that I didn't end up seeing. And then at the end, I'll talk a little bit about what I'm gonna do moving forward. So first off, I'll talk about weight. I weighed myself at the very end of, after the end of the challenge, and my last final weigh-in was 157.8, which means in the final 2 weeks of the challenge, I lost another 1.2 pounds, I think. So about 0.6 pounds a week for the last 2 weeks, which I think is pretty good. I didn't expect a lot of weight loss in the second 2 weeks. Sometimes your body really needs to settle in after it loses a bunch of weight in the beginning. So anyways, overall, since I started dairy-free, I've lost 7.3 pounds, which is pretty exciting. And just in the month of alternating lean and fat days, I lost 5 pounds total. So I'm really, really happy with that. I have been in the 160s for so long, ever since, Levi was born. And so to be solidly in the 150s again is very exciting. As far as long-term goals, obviously weight isn't the best measurement for, your body and all that. But as far as a weight goes, as long as everything else is in line, like my body composition and how I feel and all that, I'm thinking 140 would be an ultimate goal. As far as my weight, it's kind of a little bit different than a lot of people. A lot of people were, skinny when they were young and then they got heavier when they got older. But for me, I was actually heavier in high school. And then I got the skinniest between my first 2 kids. There's 5 years in between Autumn and Talia. And that's when I really kind of took control of my health and got down to my leanest. And I spent a good amount of that time in the 140s, between 140 and 150. So I kind of think that's where I'd love to be long term, but I'm just taking it day by day, and I'm happy right now to be in the 150s. So beyond weight loss, benefits that I have seen from this experiment, and it's hard for me to differentiate the benefits from going dairy-free and the benefits of alternating lean and fat days. I think both of them are working together to create these benefits, but definitely more energy and a more positive mood. I am just feeling really good. My mood has been really good. My sleep has been amazing. I shared some supplements that I take for sleep in a video a few weeks ago after our beach trip, because I definitely needed them on the beach trip. And I have weaned down the dose that I was taking of both of those things. And I'm down to just a little bit of GABA in the evening, and I may not even need that. It's kind of still like a security blanket. I don't want to risk a bad night of sleep, but that's the only thing I'm taking right now for sleep, and my sleep has been great. I've been very consistently sleeping a solid 8 hours, which feels incredible. My hunger and appetite and cravings are at an all-time low. I have always been a person that I just thought I just had a big appetite and I could eat a ton, and it was just a huge amount of work to get, below 2,000 calories. That was just impossible for me to sustain any other time. But somehow with both the going dairy-free and with the alternating lean and fat days, but getting plenty of protein on both kinds of days. And then also I'll throw in here having my electrolytes in order. I think all of those 3 things work in combination and have allowed my appetite just to go down. I feel like I can hear my hunger signals, and I can know when I'm hungry and know when I'm full, and I don't have all those mixed messages of cravings and appetite out of control, all of that stuff. I feel like it's just gone. My hunger is just my hunger. I can eat and feel satisfied. And it's just simple, like you would think that it should be. You get hungry, you eat, you're full, and you're done. So that feels really good to have all that kind of in line. I will put a little caveat in here though, that I did experience some cravings the last couple of days. And I think the reasons for that are a couple of reasons. First is it's almost that time of the month, and so PMS cravings, that's just normal. So I kind of was feeling that a little more, and then also it was Halloween and there was candy everywhere. And I still like candy. I'm not going to be one of those people that comes on here and says, candy looks disgusting now and I can't even imagine eating it. Like, no way. It looks delicious. I would have loved to dig into some of that candy. I did not, because I've been down that road enough times to know that it doesn't satisfy the craving. Like, it tastes good in the moment, but then I end up just wanting more and nothing really satisfies. So you kind of go down the road of finding something else and something else and something else, and you never really, or I would never really get fully satisfied, although my stomach would get full and so I'd be uncomfortable, but still feeling like I wanted something. It's just so not worth it to me anymore. I've learned the lying voice of that kind of thing where I'm like, I just don't believe you anymore. I don't believe you, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, that if I eat you, I'm gonna feel better. I just know it's not true. So anyways, the cravings the last couple of days really were not bad. It was just basically just feeling dissatisfied with what I was allowing myself to eat and the kinds of foods that are, you know, on my plan, and just feeling like, ugh, I don't really want to eat it, you know, and feeling like I wanted something else. It wasn't bad. It was easy to resist. I didn't give in, and I'm feeling so much better today. And I think it was just that perfect storm of that time of the month plus so much candy being around. But the fact that I didn't give in and I didn't eat candy and I stuck to eating things that I knew would make me feel well, I think is a testimony that what I'm doing is working. As far as benefits that I had hoped I would see and didn't, it's actually really just one. So a few months ago, probably about 3 months ago, I started noticing that I was getting more pimples on my face and on my cheeks in particular. And I was like, what in the world? I haven't, as an adult, dealt with acne hardly at all. Maybe 1 or 2 pimples will pop up, like, you know, around that time of the month. But besides that, I just never have had any significant issue with acne, which I'm very thankful for. And I was like, what in the world could be causing this all of a sudden? And I really did not want to admit it. But the timing actually worked out perfectly with when I started making egg white bread and when I started eating a lot of that. And so I was like, oh gosh, is it possible that I am sensitive to eggs, or maybe to egg whites in particular? And I was like, I was in denial about it for quite some time. The timing worked out, I knew that, but I was like, it can't be true. It just can't, I don't even want to think about it. But finally, actually a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I just need to try to cut out eggs and see what happens. So my last what I eat in a day video, you guys, I don't know if anybody noticed, but there was no egg white bread. There were no eggs at all, because I have been doing no eggs for a couple of weeks now. Of course, the kittens are over here being crazy. Oh, hello. Ooh. Okay, say hi. Say hi. Say good morning. Say good morning, Cedar. I have to check their paws to know who is who, because Maple has the white paws and Cedar doesn't. So I cut out eggs, and I thought things were kind of clearing up. And then I had some allulose. I had some of the allulose honey to make a honey mustard, and I broke out the next day. And I was like, oh my gosh, maybe it's the allulose. Because that timing works out just the same, you know, as the egg white powder, because I wasn't eating allulose before I started making the egg white bread. So I was like, oh gosh, maybe that's it, but that would be better than eggs being a problem. So anyways, long story, this is the way it goes with like trying to figure out food sensitivities. It can like make you crazy, and it takes so long to like figure out something that it's just frustrating. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep allulose out too, as well as the eggs. But what I found was that my breakouts really didn't improve. Like over the 2 weeks, they didn't really improve drastically. It kind of, they'd get better and then kind of flare and get better and kind of flare, which that's the way it normally is. So I have not determined that either allulose or eggs are a problem for me. I kind of think they're not. And when I was researching a little bit more, I now actually don't think that what I've been having in the last few months is acne per se. I think it's actually related to rosacea, which I have had for a really long time. It's always been worse during pregnancy, but I always deal with it to some degree, and it kind of gets better and gets worse different times. And there's actually a form of rosacea that includes like the bumps that look like pimples. Isn't that wonderful? So I think that's what I'm experiencing, and why my rosacea would be getting worse, you know, in the last 3 months, I have no idea. It still could have to do with the eggs or the egg bread, because that could be high in histamine, could be a histamine reaction. But rosacea is very, very difficult to actually pinpoint, like food triggers or any kind of triggers. And a lot of the triggers are just environmental that you can't really control. Like I definitely have it worse during the winter. Like if it's, we keep our house pretty cool, but if I go over to someone else's house where they keep it hotter, just I walk in the door and it's like my face just gets beet red. If I drink alcohol, I definitely have a big flare. I know a few things like that, and typically I can avoid those things, but then there's other things that I haven't been able to pin down, and I've been frustrated with how much my rosacea has not got better and actually gotten worse in the past few months. So I've had so many great benefits from all of this. So I know I'm on the right track, and maybe it's just going to take longer for my rosacea to get better. And I'm going to keep, you know, working on trying to find some topical things and different other things that maybe I could try beyond diet, because obviously diet can't do everything. But I would say that that is the one thing that I hoped I would see benefit from, both from going dairy free. I thought maybe that would help. And then also from going the egg free for the last 2 weeks, I thought that might help. But so far, I haven't been able to conquer that yet. So now on to what I'm going to do moving forward. I am sticking with dairy free. I kind of have the opinion that if I still want to lose weight, I need to keep the dairy out until I am at a weight that I want to stay at, and then I might try experimenting with adding the dairy back in and just watching and seeing if it causes me to gain or whatever. Then as far as the lean days, there's a very loud squirrel over there. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the cats, oh, the cat is way up in the tree trying to get the squirrel, and the squirrel just jumped to the other tree. It's a whole circus over here. So as far as the lean and fat days, I had been doing alternating every other day, and so that kind of made my week unpredictable, because every week it would change. So what I'm thinking now is that I'm gonna just do 3 days a week. I think 3 days a week is plenty to help continue the weight loss, and it'll just give my week that much more predictability. So what I'm thinking is I will do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and if for some reason we have some event on Saturday, I can always bump it and do a lean day on Sunday instead. And so I have that little bit of flexibility there, but then also it's more predictable with my week and with my schedule. But since this week is the week before my period, I decided that I would go ahead and just take 1 week off here at the beginning of November. Since I just did a whole month of alternating, my body, you know, has been through a lot. I let go of over 7 pounds. Just giving myself a little bit of a break, eating normal for about a week. It'll be interesting too to see what my weight does, see if it, you know, jumps up 3 or 4 pounds after eating normally for a week. And by normally, I mean like my regular ketovore days. So still high protein, but not doing the low fat at all, having, you know, a moderate amount of fat. So I think my first lean day of November is going to be this coming Saturday. I don't know what date that's going to be, but I'll have a few days off. Start that on Saturday, then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday from then on. So that's it from me on this Wellness Wednesday. I am still gonna do that Q&A that I talked about last week. I just couldn't get to it this past week with, you know, being sick and my voice, you know, being gone and all that. But I'm feeling better now. I'm hopefully gonna get that filmed today or tomorrow and get that out for you really soon. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you again in another video.